Hello and welcome to the Drive and Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan.
I'm Ryan.
And this is the podcast where we talk about 2 movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into today's movie, I want to talk to you about our Patreon. If you head over to patreon.com/Drive and Double Feature Podcast, you get fun games, fun conversations, all that for just $5 a month. But no main show content is locked behind there. But getting into today's movie, we are talking about 1993's The Good Son. Yes, evil has many faces. That is the tagline of the movie. It stars Macaulay
Does it?
Culkin. Yeah, I guess so. Even though I don't think Macaulay ever changed his face. He was the good
He
son, right?
yeah, he has the same face the whole movie.
I think so. I don't think it ever changes. They don't like CGI him or anything. At least I don't think so.
Mhm.
He's like
Well, no,
Voldemort.
he does wear that little paper mache mask at the beginning of
Yes,
the movie.
that's
So
what they meant by evil has many faces. Yeah.
yeah,
But this movie stars Macaulay Culkin, Elijah Wood. Uh, yeah, I mean those are your 2 big main stars of this movie. 1993, so they're both children. This movie was kind of a bigger hit, probably bigger than what we normally talk about here, but it's just an oddity. It cost 28 million, it made 60 million. This movie was a major hit. I mean, it had one of the biggest child actors maybe ever, just at like at the height of his career, uh,
sure.
playing in an R-rated movie. Elijah Wood, that is. Um,
Right. Well, no, hold on, Nathan. He had not started his big breakout movie of North yet.
oh, you're right. North was next year. It was the year after, which was a big deal.
Yeah,
Was Radio Flyer before this?
I don't know, but he was in Back to the Future Part Two.
Yes, he
And they're
was.
like, so like you think like they saw him in that movie and they're like, when he's like, you got to use your hands, that's like a baby's toy, and they're like, we
That
want that kid."
that's a good son right there. I know a good son when I see him. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that was it. Actually, what was the rest of his? He was probably on TV. Back to the Future actually was his very first movie role.
Hmm.
Actually, his first
I
role
know,
ever before
I
TV.
know my, I know my Elijah Wood.
Oh, I know you do. That's why you've seen the Homicide Life on the Street episode with him in it.
Hmm.
Yeah. But but no, the good son, I guess, big deal for him, big deal for both of them. Well, but not really Macaulay. Macaulay had already done many like a few popular movies by this point. And as you told me, this movie was told by his dad. His dad said this was a good career move for him, and that's why he got this role.
Well, not only that, so I did some digging on this, and
Okay.
so just reading all about Kit Culkin, which is Macaulay Culkin's dad,
Yeah.
and just like how desperately he wanted like to to be famous and acting. Like he himself was a failed actor.
I didn't
He
realize
had
that.
he had tried for many years to become an actor. He was a stage actor trying to get the breakout role. Supposedly he's in West Side Story, the movie, but as a background dancer.
Gotcha.
Um, and but it never really panned out. He ended up marrying a girl, or I guess they weren't married, but they were partners, and they had a slew of kids. And uh, so he's like, "Well, how can I get this to happen? I'm gonna make my kids famous."
Yeah, sounds about right.
And Macaulay Culkin got to start like doing a bunch of small commercial roles, I believe, and then he was in a couple of he had a really small movie roles, but the movie that actually got him noticed first was the movie Uncle Buck.
Yeah, Uncle Buck. And he was really young in Uncle Buck.
Yeah, that was, I believe, a year or two before Home
Hmm.
Alone. So John Hughes saw him in Uncle Buck, and was just like, I want to make him the star of my movie, and
Hmm.
that's how we get to this point. So after he did Home Alone, became like a huge major success. His dad wanted him to like be like a super versatile actor too, and
Okay.
he thought this would be like a great career move for his son. So much so, Nathan, that because Fox, produced this one and the Home Alone movies,
Yeah.
he threatened Fox that he was going to pull Macaulay Culkin out of Home Alone 2 if he didn't star in The Good Son.
Oh my God. So it was like forced his hand at it. Holy crap, that's messed up. And took all the kids' money too.
Yeah. So there was a lot of other production in this movie too, because this movie had languished in like production hell for a while.
Hmm.
Because originally they were going to make it in 1988, and they had a couple of different kids attached to star in this movie, but they eventually aged out. Jesse Bradford was one of them that they were going to have in this movie,
Okay.
and they aged out of the role. And then the there was a director originally in this movie that was attached that eventually left the project due to disputes with Macaulay Culkin's dad, and and then Macaulay Culkin's dad handpicked a director for this movie, which was
Wow.
Joseph Ruben.
Who we have covered before, director of The Stepfather.
Yes. So he
Hmm.
saw The Stepfather, and he's just like, I like the
That's
way
it.
that dad is in this movie.
Yeah, no, no, I like to think it was the Pom Pom Girls and Gorp.
Oh, right, sure.
Yeah, I'm a big Gorp fan actually. But yeah, no, I do think that's absolutely insane that someone was allowed to just be like that. And could you say like I mean Macaulay did stuff after this, of course, like he would go on to do stuff, but definitely would like stall out at some point. And I feel like having that much of a forced like you're being in The Good Son, you're gonna play a serious role, and then like you're not really gonna do a kiddie role this time. It probably ruined his career in the long run.
Well, yeah, because I mean, he did a couple other movies after this. He
Yeah.
did like Richie Rich, Page Master,
Yeah.
and Getting Even with Dad.
Mm,
And
forgot about that one.
so this those were movies where those were kind of like the his last hurrah, because eventually I think it was after Richie Rich, he went on to like a major hiatus from acting, and then he ended up being in a dispute with his father,
Hmm.
and him and his father eventually became estranged.
Yeah.
And I think it was something like he hadn't seen his father in a very long. I want to say it was like 1997 or
Oh,
something like
holy
that,
crap. Wow.
but it could have been more recent than that. I could be misremembering the dates, but it's very clear that even in this movie, there's a lot of his dad's fingerprints are on it, because Macaulay Culkin's sister, Quinn Culkin, is the daughter in this movie,
Hmm.
and the little baby picture, who's not even really an on-screen character, is just a character in a picture frame, is Macaulay Culkin's one of his younger brothers, Rory Culkin.
Yeah, little Rory's in the picture. So yeah, it's definitely like the Culkin family is already all getting bred to be super famous. But hey, one of them got an Oscar. So
That's true.
so you know what? Kit, he did it, right? Like he made it.
It was all worth it.
It was all every step. This was all pre-planned.
But
He's like the jigsaw of child star dads.
that's right.
Hmm.
But no, they even Kieran Culkin said, he doesn't really have much of a relationship, and he said he didn't experience a lot of the abuse that Macaulay did, but
Yeah,
he did say like his father was not a good person.
that's really sad. Yeah, and it sucks that Macaulay had to take the biggest hit of that. Yeah.
Don't you think it's odd though? Like, I mean, this is off topic, having to call him like Macaulay.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I hate having to say Macaulay Culkin. I really do.
You have to say Macaulay Culkin because it doesn't make it sounds weird when you just call him Macaulay.
Yeah, exactly, Macaulay. Because like you said to me, it's like they call him Mac. That's what like his family members call him.
At least like from what I've seen, like he's been on podcasts and they call him Mac.
Yeah. Dude, what does the AVGN call him? which also was part of his dad's plans. There's going to be an internet reviewer that reviews bad video games, and I predict you are going to be in it.
That's right.
Uh, but let's get into our movie though, The Good Son. So that's a lot of setup. Macaulay is in a tough place, but is in this movie. He's doing his best at least. But the way it goes is Elijah Wood. His mom has just died, and the movie is so quiet that you can barely hear what his mom's whispering. Which I should say, both movies this week we watched together. We actually sat and watched them together, which we have not done in a long time, other
It's
than the
all the
movie
way
theater movies.
right. Well, yeah, I think the last one was Cocaine Bear, or,
Well,
or the
Kill Bill.
or the that's right, Kill Bill. I forgot about that one. And the
Yeah.
oh, and the drive-in movies we watched as well.
Yes, yeah. So every once in a while we get some special ones. This duo is just kind of silly though. I did pick The Good Son because I knew we were gonna see each other, and I was like, if we watch our movies, this one's gonna probably be a little bit of fun to watch together because it's a bit goofy. Um, but yeah, the premise is Elijah Wood's mom dies, and then his dad has to go on a trip immediately after. And they make him not look bad. The reasoning is like, you will make so much money off of this trip that you will be able to provide for your son forever. So it's not like you're not supposed to feel, you're like, oh well, I guess he has to. I guess he has to leave his grieving son. That's a reasonable thought.
So Nathan, full disclosure, I watched this movie twice as well,
You watched this
and
movie twice?
so
Wow, you watched both the movies twice.
yeah, I rewatched both movies.
Mhm.
Anyway, on my rewatch of this one, it made me again like still annoyed at that scene
Mhm.
because they make a point like, yeah, like you said, like, you're gonna be making so much money, you're never gonna have to leave him again,
Mhm.
uh, and I'm just thinking in my head, like this guy's wife just died, like they those people would not reschedule like this meeting at all, like
Right.
it would
There's a
like
such thing as like morning time off and everything. I feel like that's one of the few things that's like fully respected.
they they are just they're at the funeral still, like they're still in their funeral
Yeah.
clothes, and he's like, you gotta go to you're gonna have to go because you got to go to Japan and make this deal. And I I'm just thinking like his mom just died. He is so completely vulnerable right now and
Hmm.
so sad. And you're just like, I gotta leave. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And
Well, Japanese people don't understand wife death. Sorry. They just don't. I've tried to explain it and they were like, what? We just keep working. It's just, I'm
they're like, yeah,
sorry.
yeah. It's like you had a whole day off. You got more than enough time.
Yeah, that's plenty of time. You actually got a funeral. Wow, you Americans are very lucky. Uh
So spoiled.
so spoiled. But yeah, so it's so funny because so instantly they go from what I believe is New Mexico. Do they ever say what state it is? You've seen this movie more than I have. Uh,
I yeah, I think it's New Mexico.
Yeah, they go from New Mexico all the way up to Maine. So it goes from desert to snow, kind of like, okay, he's going to completely change. And that's where his aunt lives. So he's going to live with her for 2 weeks during winter break while they're gone. So it gives like a perfect opportunity for Elijah Wood and Macaulay Culkin to hang out on their time off, which of course you also mentioned it. Little sister is there as well. Elijah Woods is Mark, and then Macaulay is Henry. So so I don't have to say Macaulay so much. I'm just gonna refer to him as Henry.
All
Um,
right.
but yeah, so uh, they seem to be having fun at first, but like right from the get-go, Henry's a little creep wearing the paper mache mask and attempts to scare the crew as they walk in, as a father and son walk in. And that paper mache mask is pretty creepy, I'll be honest with you.
And he goes downstairs too, and he has the mask on, and he's like, "Here, I made one for you too, so we can both have one." And he just like he puts it on. He does like the Michael Myers like head tilt, just like just staring, like
Yeah.
it's so. Very creepy.
Yeah, this movie is so funny because it reminds me of The Bad Seed. There's definitely like connections there where it's just a child of pure evil, the worst child, comedically so, and that's just a lot of fun. Uh, just a lot of fun to me. Just the idea of Macaulay getting to be as evil as possible. Unfortunately, for both child actors here, neither of them are particularly good. I wouldn't say either performance is good.
I disagree.
Really?
I think Elijah Wood is decent.
Oh,
I don't think he's
okay.
that I don't think he's that bad in this
Okay.
movie. Like I think of the two, he is definitely the better of the two.
Oh yeah, I mean I could say that. Yeah. But that's because Macaulay is giving whatever. Macaulay is given this material and he has to what he has to work with is so goofy because like there's a scene early on where he shows off a gun that shoots out like screws and nails and that he made. And he aims at a cat and he just misses the cat. And Elijah Wood's like, "Wow, you're such a great shot. You almost hit her." And he goes, the aim was just a little off." There's like whatever the most evil retort could be, that is exactly what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I think he's the wrong kid for this
Oh
type of
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
And because he just has such a squeaky clean image from Home Alone,
Yes, yeah.
and he's just like the precocious, like little like witty one-liner kid,
Hmm.
and you're just kind of it's really hard to see him outside of that role.
I totally agree. I think like honestly, I get it. It's supposed to be maybe more startling when a really young kid does it, but maybe this movie would work better if they were like preteens, maybe young teenagers. It becomes a little more believable. Believable is not the right word, but it just doesn't really work when they're this young and they just look like cute little kids. They're just doing their own thing.
I mean, because for me, I agree with that because it's really hard to get like a little kid to seem threatening like this.
Yeah.
Even though like, he is supposed to be like this sociopath
Yeah.
that just doesn't have like any remorse and no feelings, but I uh I think it would have better served this movie had they been aged up a couple of years. So
Yeah.
like you said, maybe preteen or like early teens, something like that would
Yeah.
have been a little more believable. But just seeing like these little kids just like trying to seem threatening,
Hmm.
especially like Macaulay Culkin's like, oh, do you think I would do that? You think I would just you think I would just kill my little sister? Why would I
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah, exactly. Trying to be manipulative and everything. Because I don't care how sociopathic this young child is. He's playing mind games that are way beyond his years because he sets this up so well that he starts to be a little freak, and then he convinces everybody that Elijah Woods is insane, that he's crazy. Um, and the way he does it is just like he can perfectly like there's the scene where he's like Elijah Wood's like I'm gonna tell your dad, and then Macaulay's like sure, hey dad, Mark has something to say to you.
Oh yeah, because it's like, well, yeah, just tell him like, oh no, Dad, Mark has just been really upset. He's been really homesick, and he uh he didn't know what he was doing. He just did it.
Yeah, and he's just way beyond his years in his sociopath ways because like there's the scene where they're talking about Elijah Wood's dead mom, and he's like, you should have seen her dead body. That's good. You could have studied it, and you could have touched it, and felt her
It's
dead
like,
body.
right, and he goes on a monologue too about seeing because one of the big pivotal plot points of this
Mm,
movie is Henry's little brother Richard, who
yeah.
died at a certain point. He supposedly had drowned in the bathtub, and he was like, when I saw my brother, he was completely blue. His his lips blue, and he was just He was just completely cold.
Yeah. And that's and from there you're supposed to be like, oh yeah, he killed his brother. And so it's kind of like we're you realize that he really is like a weirdo freak. And what an insane scene, the one where they take the dummy. I think I honestly, so we did watch the Siskel and Ebert review. All right. And then they were really like, especially Ebert was really up in arms about like, hey, this is really bad for kids because they like Macaulay Culkin and they're going to go see this and he's doing horrible things, which in some ways I don't agree with because it's R rated. That's on the parents to do. But putting a scene of a young Macaulay Culkin throwing a dummy over a bridge, watching cars crash, does kind of sit wrong with me because I imagine a kid watching that and being very impressionable, being like, that would be funny. That'd be funny
It's
to
like his,
do.
it's like one of his little Home Alone traps.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. And I guess I've been thinking about that scene and I was kind of like, I don't like that one. That one doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, and that scene was actually edited out for the European release of this movie I read, and
Good.
they but years later they did edit it back in for the DVD release.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I I, I kind of I do disagree with a lot of points that they made about this movie. It's like how could you show this young kid, doing all these terrible things? I'm like, okay, that's being a little getting on your high horse a little too high there, I feel like. But
Yeah, I totally agree because like I mean it's not that crazy. And they were like, oh, there's so many young fans of Macaulay Culkin. I mean, what
I,
was there? I mean, I'm sure there was, but not like to the
there
fact that
was.
like they had to be like, I have to see The Good Son. It is like my number one passion right now to see this movie.
I I even with content of today, it's if you're not monitoring what your underage kids are watching, if there's stuff you don't want them to see, I mean, to me that's on you in a
I,
lot of
I
ways.
I agree. If you have kids, you need to like look at like the movies that you're giving them, what scenes are in there. If you look at a number, well, first and foremost, look at the rating of the movie. If you see this movie in R rating, do your research, figure out why it's R rated. Um,
Yeah, and from what I did read though, they did try really hard to make this PG-13 movie.
really.
Uh-huh. And they but due to like the nature of it, of like I guess like the scene with like the bridge scene and um just like the fact that I think that it's a little kid doing it, they did make it an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
And uh there was also so one funny part is so they tried really hard to make this a PG-13 movie, but because they didn't and they were kind of forced to deal with this as an R movie, they added in like Macaulay Culkin like saying the F word, saying
You might as well if you
well,
can't
yeah,
get
they're
out of
that
it.
they asked him, they're like, "Do you mind saying that?" And he was like, "Yeah, I got no problem saying it."
Yeah, of course. Yeah, a 9-year-old would be like, yeah, oh, well, I'll say the F word.
Hmm.
That's so funny. But yeah, so this whole shenanigans is going. Elijah Woods is getting crazier and crazier, and he gets to the point where he really thinks that Macaulay is going to kill his little sister. So so it's kind of like becomes this protection thing for a while. And there's even a scene where Macaulay Culkin's out on the ice and like chucks his sister right into the thin ice. And it's such a weird scene too because she's drowning in the water and Macaulay is like fake trying to save her, just like barely holding his
Yeah,
hand out.
like his hand is just kind of flopping, like trying to grab her hand and like not letting her grab his hand. Like, come on, like, what are you doing?
Uh-huh. Which once she's awake and alive, how is he going to explain his way out of that one? Her being like, his hand was limp the whole time.
They do explain that in the movie. They
They
do
do.
say
Okay.
because she's like after because she's asleep in her hospital bed
Yes.
and uh the mom mentions like, yeah, the doctors say she's probably not gonna have any memory of this incident.
That's right. You are absolutely right. So that's how they'll explain it. They explain their way out of that one.
So I want to talk about that scene really quickly. I I went into the that scene again because that scene's also funny because Macaulay Culkin, Henry, goes to the hospital. Like his sister is like basically asleep after,
Mm,
and I think he thinks that the hospital room is empty, and he goes to her hospital room to basically murder his sister, like to suffocate her with a pillow because he grabs the pillow and
mm.
he like starts lifting it up, but then his mom is there, like, "Huh, Henry? Like, what are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, I came to check on her," and but it that was, we had just talked about how stupid that was. Like he just came to the hospital like unattended, like in the middle
Yeah.
of the night.
And he walks away like that's exactly how he's like, I'll meet you at home, mom. And then she like there's no discussion of how close the home is to their hospital, but I doubt it was that close because it seems like they live like on a cliff.
So I noticed something in that scene,
Yeah.
and because I was like, when he walked in the room, I was like, is he wearing different colored shoes?
Oh, you didn't
He,
notice that? Yeah, he wears one white shoe and a black shoe.
yeah.
It's
And then I Googled it, and the director was like, yeah, that's for the duality of good and evil.
oh, that's so lame. That is so stupid.
So it's like, why?
Because also he's not good at all. This guy, this kid is bad all around.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, because there's no redeeming quality to this kid. There's no like, oh, let's he's confused, he maybe needs help. No, he's just evil and he deserves to die.
Yeah. There's no redeeming quality about him whatsoever. That's the
Yeah.
funniest part. He's
Yeah.
just completely evil because
He's like
uh
Rhoda. He's the boy version of Rhoda.
Rhoda. What was it? When she killed not Leroy, Leroy.
Leroy. It's Leroy. What
Uh,
a great movie. Another good one.
um, I do want to talk about the very end of the movie because at this point, Henry's kind of uh he's flipping people's opinions, but the one person that he's not able to change his mind is his mom
Mhm.
because there's a scene where I think it's after Mark goes has like a little bit of like a mental breakdown and he starts destroying all the food in the fridge thinking that Henry has poisoned the food.
That's right. Yeah.
And then his mom is just kind of like checking on him, and she sees like Henry kind of like like skulking in the background, like scheming, like just like peeping around the
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah. When
Uh,
because I looked away and you were like, Nathan, and you rewound it to show me because it's so funny. That's like something out of a comedy movie, like a scary movie. Like this big deed has been done, and then it's like Macaulay's just like peering around, and the mom's just like, "What are you doing? Go to bed." And
uh,
that well, and that's where
right.
the cracks are supposed to be showing, right? Like right
Hmm.
there, the mom is like, "Oh, maybe something's wrong with my baby boy."
Right, because she at first, she's like, Henry's my sweet little boy, you would never do that sort of thing. But Henry also, where he built the gun and everything, he's got like this little like shed,
Hmm.
and he goes into the shed, and she sees the rubber duck that belonged to the younger brother Richard,
Hmm.
and Henry kind of walks in on her and is like, "What are you doing?" She's like,
Hmm.
she's like, Henry, like, where did you find this? And she's like, I was looking for this the night that Richard died, and I could never find it. He's like, it was mine before it was his.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a jealousy thing. Yeah, and then fights for it. Like they fight each other, and then Macaulay runs off, and then the mom chases him, and in the woods, she's like, "Did you kill him?" And what is
Well,
it?
no, they don't chase him off into the woods because like
Hmm.
they break apart, and then she's
Yeah.
like, we need to go have a talk, and he's like, can we
Oh, that's
walk like we
right.
did when
Yeah.
we were? And so they walk hand in hand. So it's like a very chill conversation. But in the meantime, Mark is kind of because he threatens to stab Henry in the throat,
Hmm.
and his Henry's dad like catches him and's like, I gotta go throw you in this room. And eventually Mark breaks out and he goes chasing after them. So mind you, they're like this whole time, his dad has zero context of like Henry being a sociopath and like a psycho.
Hmm.
And Mark goes runs after them, and that's where the mom has the confrontation with Henry. With
Gotcha. And
like, did you kill Richard?
what if I did? Because he never fully confesses, which is what makes the ending a little more interesting. Because I mean, you're pretty much you get out of it that yes, that he did kill him, but the mom is pretty dead set on like him being the killer. And I mean, I guess she does. There is the big confrontation on the cliff where she gets pushed off the cliff and is hanging on by like a twig, and Elijah Wood and Macaulay are fighting on top of the cliff, and she has to climb her way back up, which is an insane scene, by the way. The way she climbs
I,
up that rock face.
she she was closer to the bottom of the cliff than she was at the top of the
Yeah.
cliff, and she could it would have been so then she has to she's all covered up in cuts and bruises and stuff like
Hmm.
she's not looking too good, but with her bare hand she rock climbs this face of this cliff
Hmm.
and she's like it's just like climbing up.
Hmm.
Meanwhile Mark and Henry are tussling on the ground, and eventually they both topple over the edge, and she's got a grip on each of their hands, and that's when like the scene that you're expecting to happen happens.
Yeah, she has to make the decision on which child lives. And she does choose Elijah Wood and kills Macaulay, which I think there's something about that choice that just doesn't sit right to me. In terms of the movie, Elijah Wood's the good guy. He lives, right? The bad, evil one dies. But I really don't see a mom who once again, has not confirmed fully that her son did kill the baby, but also it's her son. I really just don't see that. Like, no matter what sociopathic tendencies that he might have, still her son. And I imagine that she'd want to get him help immediately after.
I mean, part of me is like, well, she Henry did try to kill her
It's
right
true.
there.
Yeah.
So I do agree, though. I do think the ending is a little too Hollywood. Like it's a very
Hmm.
happy-ish kind of ending where it's like, oh, I choose good or whatever. But
Hmm.
I think humans are a little more complicated than that.
Yes.
They don't just say like, well, my son's evil, so goodbye forever, die, and type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So I think it would have been um, a much more interesting one if she just drops Mark
Yeah.
and
And it would be far
and
more interesting. Yeah.
and then it's just like okay, and then she could be in like holding Henry's like, don't worry, we'll get you the help you need or whatever, and
Hmm.
he just kind of like just smiles there like
Yeah,
so the
that'd
dad's
be
gonna,
far better. Or maybe not an ending like this. It's just a little cliche that you see coming that, like, oh, we have to make the choice on which one dies.
which would have made more sense too because I brought up this point is like I said, the dad has no context, so but he does know that Mark is deeply disturbed right now.
Yeah.
So he would have believed more of Mark getting, like, hey, Mark went kind of crazy, and we had, he fell off the cliff and died, type of thing.
Yeah.
And versus the ending they went with, which is, oh, by the way, we just took a walk with our son Henry, and I had to drop him off a cliff. And it's like
Yeah.
he'd be like, well, what?
What? That's two of our sons that you've killed? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it just feels odd because he also believes that she doesn't say it, but it's believed that the mom left the kid in the bathtub and that's why he drowned. And so maybe you start to make weird connections there when both of your sons are killed off. Um,
Well, the dad's pretty awful in this movie too, because
yeah.
uh, Henry kind of makes the point, is like, hey, well, maybe Mark could sleep in Richard's room, but she's kind of has it left as kind of like this untouched because she doesn't
Mhm.
want to get rid of it. And the dad's like, honey, it's been more than enough time. Like, I think it's time to move on. Just
Uh-huh.
telling her, like, he has like zero sympathy for the fact that their child died, and he's just
Yeah.
like,
He's so over
I,
it.
he's just like, I was sad for like a day, and I'm like, what do you get?
I don't understand you. I don't understand how you mourn. It makes no sense. No, it's goofy. It's just kind of goofy, and I think it kind of has a non-ending because it doesn't really explain it in any way. It kind of that happens, and then Elijah Wood is back to his normal life, and there's not really much else to it, which I would like to hear how it's explained and how like everything after went, but that would be too much to write. That would be way too much to think about.
No, and the only thing that they mentioned they end on is just Elijah Wood just being like, it's like she chose me that day. Like, I keep wondering in my head if she would make that same choice each time, but I try not to think about it too much.
Imagine having to live with that for the rest of your life.
And yeah, they just kind of end on that, like, that this family is just completely broken.
Hmm.
They they had three children, now they have one.
Yeah, and Elijah Wood doesn't even live with them. That's not even their child. Yeah.
No.
No.
Oh, what and they also add this weird other plot element in this movie
Oh
where
yeah.
Elijah Wood believes that his dead mother has possessed his aunt, and like it's
It's
like
so weird.
she's my mom now, and which is such a weird thing to say.
Yeah, it's a very odd plot point where it's like he believes like that the ghost of his mom can live on, and honestly, it gave nothing to the plot other than maybe it explains it a little bit better why she picked him in the end, and maybe that's what they're getting at. I don't know. The movie
I,
overall is just kind of bad, to be honest with you. Not worth that kind of introspective look. It's entertaining on some front. I would never say it's a boring movie, but it's just like it's just kind of it makes you roll your eyes how ludicrous it is.
oh, and we didn't mention too, they do show Macaulay Culkin like falling off the cliff, and
Yes,
like
yeah.
and him screaming, like and they did that's a real stunt of him falling. Like they
Really?
were like they agreed that he would have to do like a 30-foot drop from a cable.
Oh my God. And his dad was like,
Yeah,
"Yes, you're gonna do it."
yeah. His dad insisted.
Yes, like
That's
you are
not
going
that
to
that
do that. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, not even a joke. Yeah, he was like,
yeah.
"You are going to do this."
And they basically had to bribe him. They were like they got him a BB gun, I think is what he wanted
Oh,
if he did.
he could have done so much better.
But and they show his corpse on the jagged rocks on the below.
Yes, yeah, which is that's what kids want to see, right? Their
Yeah,
hero.
you go and watch Home Alone, and the next movie you see him, and he's just a bloodied corpse.
Yep, that's what happened to Kevin McAllister. The burglars actually got him. Yeah.
Can you imagine if, like, in that line, he says in the movie, like, "Don't fuck with me." Like, what if he said that to the robbers in Home Alone?
Oh my God, that'd be
Oh
a
my.
hand. I'd get up and clap. Home Alone 2, he takes it to like the next step and he said, "Don't fuck with me" to both of them. I would be like, "Oh my," I would, yeah, that would rock actually. I'm all for it. They need to, oh, that'd be a fun project. Edit Home Alone and The Good Son together.
They could do they could do that easily.
Yeah.
Um, Overall, it's entertaining, but kind of like it's a bad movie. So I
Yeah.
can't, in all honesty, give it a good recommendation, but I'll say it was an enjoyable watch. So
Yeah.
I don't think I could give this a recommend, but I could definitely say I enjoyed my time watching it.
Yep. And that's pretty much my thoughts on it. Exactly. But Ryan, can you remind us what we're covering on Thursday?
Nathan, we're going to be talking about the movie Carnosaur, and that is on YouTube for free.
Awesome. I'm excited to watch that one. And if you want to email us, you can email us at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. Also, be sure to check us out on YouTube and all the other places you get your podcasts because we're pretty much everywhere. We get around. But until next time.
Until next time.